Mic check, mic check.
What is going on, everybody? Hope you're all having a good Sunday. Hopefully, I got Rody in here already. He's going to jump in here with me. There's my man. What's happening?
What's up, man?
How you doing? And she should be here any minute. Dude, I'm on like I had my best friend's birthday on Friday. I had my cousin's birthday yesterday afternoon, and then my brother's birthday last night. Man, I haven't slept this weekend, so I'm ready for it. I guess this is what happens. I'm gonna pass out and hopefully wake up $1 million richer. that's
There you go.
that block for me. How you doing, man? What's been happening with you?
Not a lot. Just been doing a lot of stuff this weekend myself, but it wasn't too party related. It was family related. Like went to pumpkin patch, carved pumpkins with the kids. You know, like kiddie stuff this weekend. So
I know, and you've got like 700 kids, so you always got something going on with that. Peace, how you doing, man?
Hey, good. What's going on?
We're just catching up on the weekend. I've been saying it's been a weekend of birthdays for me. Rody's had a pumpkin patch carving weekend.
Oh, and, very nice.
We're trying to get it together here because I'm on like zero sleep. So that's a recipe.
What are you been up to?
It's my brother's. It was my brother's birthday last night. It was my cousin's birthday yesterday. It was my best friend's birthday on Friday. So we just have it. It's been like sort of like all flowed into each other. So I'm tired, but I'm ready to get into it.
You got $1 million to win today. So
exactly.
You better wake up.
Well, I think that I'm going to go to sleep and then wake up $1 million richer. Seems like the Sheets way to do it. I thought that was your style.
Not $1 million, but give me a 2-game MLB slate and I can take that. That I can do.
And what's happening today with the MLB? Are you going to win something else today?
Oh, no. I meant on Thursday when I won the 2-game MLB slate.
No, I know. But
today's only one game. I don't know if I can do one game.
You won the showdown.
I did. I won the showdown too. I forgot.
What a monster. All right. Well, guys, we'll get into it. We'll talk about position by position what we're going to be doing. I'm still making some decisions. It's kind of a weird week. I don't feel like
still making decisions. I mean, that's like
what you're not still making decisions? You're done.
No, I'm still making decisions for sure. That's what I'm saying.
Oh yeah. Same here.
Let me I want to just upload something real quick so that I have something to work off of. It's funny. We started off the week. I was like just anticipating this is going to be this big Zach Evans chalk week, and just I guess because of the coach speak and everything that just come out of LA, maybe that's just not the case. So it's I guess you're about to ask what the overall look of the week is. I mean, it's a short slate, right? So with short slates. I think that you can get away with like playing 3-man stacks from teams and stuff like that. Because if one of them just goes, I mean, then you don't have to beat 13 other stacks. I don't know. I'm probably not going to do that on purpose, but that's kind of one observation that I thought of at least. That's my overall thing. But yeah, it's definitely every slate's tough. Every slate's difficult. Oh, and by the way, we got a little bit of a shout out. I just want to let you guys know. There was a really good whatchamacallit. It was from like 2 weeks ago, but I didn't even realize I hadn't seen it. What's his name? Brian Hooper and Pete Overzet do this YouTube thing called LOLZ, where they have like really like the top DFS guys on there, like industry stuff. And they had the guy from SaberSim on that, and one of the subtopics was their relationship with Run Pure. So they were talking about it with them, and they said, "Oh, well," he's like, they're not our only partners. They're like, who else are your partners? And they gave us a shout out, so that was nice.
Nice.
Yeah. Nice. That's all I have as far as preview goes. I mean, you want to just get right into it, or what?
Yeah, let's jump into it. Let's start because Rody, I feel like we leave him out with stuff. Before we get into, we can talk about quarterbacks, Rody, and you're welcome to jump into that one. But I would love to say your quarterbacks with maybe some of the stacks you're looking at today, and then we'll go to sheets.
Oh yeah, like we talked in the pick show this week, like I'm still on some of the guys. I did bring up Watson if he was in. We talked Jordan Love, Watson, some of these cheaper quarterbacks that I like today. It's harder to get up these pay up stacks a lot. Mahomes, the Kelsey's one that I like a little bit, but it's harder to fit these 8K guys in this week. I don't feel like that we have a ton of good value, and I like a lot of the mid range plays today. So I kind of like the cheaper quarterbacks, and it could be a lower scoring week. So I like the Love. I like the Deshaun Watson. I like even some Jared Goff's kind of my, like if everyone's playing Lamar, like people are trying to get Lamar Jackson in a little bit more this week. I don't mind the other side of that golf stack on the other side of that game. I think Detroit, it's a good play this week. And I'm kind of on those cheaper guys like that. So.
Yep. No, I like it. What do you got, Cheats, for quarterbacks and stacks and whatnot?
First of all, I still see, just catching up on some news. I mean, it's a 4:00 game, but I still see DK Metcalf as a game time, true game time decision.
Yeah,
that's a big deal.
That's a very big deal.
I want to get to the Geno Smith Seattle stuff anyway, and if he's in fact out, then it opens up that value for that other guy, who might be a good play anyway. Whatever I don't want to butcher his name, but the third guy, Jackson Smith.
Jackson, yeah.
JSN. How about that? I'll be one of those kids. JSN, of course, right? So my currently, I just did like a new build, and Seattle with led by Geno Smith is where I'm getting the top meta quarterback stuff, and then I have like 1, 2, 3, like 4 guys that are taking up the next bunch, and that's pretty much all I have. And those 4, it's kind of the opposite of what you were saying. Well, not really. I'm getting a bit of Mahomes, and I'm also getting a bit of Lamar Jackson, and then the other 2. One of them you mentioned, Jordan Love, and then I'm getting the pretty healthy amount of Deshaun Watson actually. So those are that's where I am right now with quarterback. Is Geno is kind of my top guy, then Mahomes, Lamar, Deshaun Watson, and Jordan Love.
Yeah, so we're similar pages. I get the Geno thing. It's kind of weird that we're all going to play Geno without knowing about DK. Like, I just think it's kind of a strange thing. The most popular quarterback without your best receiver. Oh, we're just going to lock that guy in. It just seems like a strange thing to do. But that's where we're at, I guess. I will probably, I guess. I mean, right now, I guess I'll be near the field on Geno. I've got Lamar. I love Jordan Love. He's my favorite quarterback this week. Along with Desmond Ridder. Am I like totally out of my mind? Because I really like the Atlanta stack against Tampa Bay, and I really like the Packers. And I'm like, what am I doing? But at the same time, they make everything else work. You could sort of like semi-stack the Chargers game if you play those quarterbacks and their cheap receivers. You can use you could play Keenan Allen and Kelsey with those stacks if you want to. And I kind of like doing that. So I'm pretty high on those guys. I will have a little bit of Herbert, Mahomes, all that stuff, but I think Jordan Love and Desmond Ridder are my biggest differentiators at quarterback this week. So I might be a little bit nuts. And we got Clay Davis in here asking about what about Powell? What about Howell? Sure. Howell, Daniel Jones, they all fit into the same mold, which sort of.
I don't think Daniel Jones is playing.
Oh, I'm sorry, not Jones. Howell, excuse me. Then you're right. Daniel Jones is not Tyrod Taylor.
Yeah.
My bad. But Howell, though, another one. Just like you could play these cheap guys, and I just sort of think that's more my strategy. I will throw in like probably 5 to 10% of Josh Allen, just hammer Buffalo stacks. Allen with Diggs and Davis, Allen with Diggs and Knox, Allen with Davis and Knox. I'm going to have a little bit of that, but mostly it's going to be the weird Ridder, Jordan Love, Geno Smith is the chalky one. And then Lamar Jackson, my favorite spend up on FanDuel. I will only be playing probably Geno Smith and Lamar Jackson. They're priced really, really, really nicely over there. So I'm probably going to just do that on FanDuel. Cheats, let's start with you at running back. What are you doing at running back? You mentioned, I guess I'll throw one thing out. You mentioned the Zach Evans thing. I actually was going to play like 0 Zach Evans earlier this week. And then because of the coach speak, now I want to play Zach Evans. I also do kind of think that you probably should mix in if you're going to play Zach Evans, mix in a little bit of obviously the why can't I think of his name? Royce Freeman. I know they're probably going to do by committee, but they will probably play a little bit of the odd hand thing. So if somebody busts a play for 12 yards, they're probably going to be at the game for a little while. I don't know. But these 4K guys are kind of interesting. But what are you doing overall at running back, Sheets?
Currently doing something similar to last week. I mean, I played like a whole bunch of Mostert and just didn't care about the ownership. And I might end up doing that with the Kenneth Walker this week. Like right now, I have 75% of him. That's current. I don't mind it. You know, if I rerun it and I get less of him, that's fine too. But I just don't mind that. I just don't mind that spot. The other guys I have, I'll only go over the guys I have over 10% of. As that would be Pacheco, Rachaad White, Jahmyr Gibbs, Josh Jacobs, and somebody you mentioned earlier in the week, Jerome Ford. So those are. I'm surprised I don't have more of Deonta Foreman. I'll do another run with that, but that's I'm a little. I thought I would have more of him, but I just don't.
Yep. How about you, Rody?
Yeah, I like a lot of those plays that she just mentioned. Ford's kind of one I got a lot of right now. Pacheco a little bit. I like Gibbs a lot today as well. One guy I like is Eckler's kind of coming in lower. Well, was lower owned. He's been getting a little bit trending up. He was under 10%. Now he's like about 14%. It looks like, in that game. I like Eckler this week a lot. So I've been trying to jam him in as expensive guy this week. So those are kind of my main guys. I'm just kind of taking the top guys. A little Josh Jacobs and Walker too. Probably going to be under the field on those guys, but I have them as well.
Before I say my guys, Rody, I got to ask you, what about our guy Aaron Jones? What are we okay with him? He's coming back, man.
Yeah, I do have him in I think $1 $3 lineup. I did, and yeah, I need to. I'm gonna probably add some more. Yeah, I probably add some more of him being here. He was talking about coming back and giving a boost to the offense, so maybe this is his big 40-point week or something that he has this week. 4 touchdowns or something crazy.
Yeah, I mention it because he is my highest owned running back at the moment.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'm locking in on that game. I really like that Green Bay Denver, and I really like this Atlanta Tampa Bay thing. I just sort of have talked myself into this whole thing. But
I'll tell you what of the world we live in now, where the worst defense in the league is like Denver Broncos at home. You know what I mean? Like it's amazing where we've come in the last 10 years. It's like
absolutely no, it's crazy. I mean, and literally, even as they've been a horrible team in the past, like this has been like, oh, we just don't play teams against Denver. That was like the rule. Now it's
now we're just streaming against them every week.
Exactly. And it wasn't just a 70-point game from the Dolphins. I mean, it was their defensive numbers are awful.
They're talking about it. They're talking about being like historically bad.
Yeah, there's a good chance it's one of the all-time horrible defenses. So I like Aaron Jones. I am sort of near the field on Walker, which doesn't feel great. I kind of wanted to take the underweight stance and play more Geno in the passing game, but I just don't know what to do with that situation. So I'm a little stuck there. But I like Aaron Jones. I like Rachaad White. I never play Rachaad White, but again, I like that game. I like Ford. Gibbs is probably one of my favorite in the mid-tier. I like Bijan as a spend up a little bit more than Jacobs, but I like both of them. Pacheco's probably going to get a little higher ownership than he should. I'm probably going to be a little underweight on him, but I still don't mind him. And I'm getting to a little Dante Foreman. I'm gonna make some notes. I like what Rody mentioned. It's just I was going to play Noah Eckler this week, and now with nobody playing him, it just feels like maybe it's the spot where he can just win the position by like 10 points, and I think we should probably take some shots there. All right, let's start off with Rody at wide receiver, and what do you got there, Rody?
Loaded position mostly here. We got a lot of good top guys today. Allen, Cobb, Diggs, St. Brown. Nobody's playing like Devontae Adams. You can get lower owned. Tyler Lockett could be higher owned if DK's out. Zay Flowers, I like it in the Baltimore run back against my golf stacks this week. Amari Cooper, he's kind of my guy for the Brown stacks I like with Deshaun Watson. Elijah Moore, I like in that game as well. Kind of stacking this game up a little bit if you kind of know. Jacoby Meyer's been a hot one for me lately. His price up a little bit. If you're, there's just no quarterbacks in that game. So, I think him or Adams could get some work today that nobody's going to play. It's just sprinkling these guys in, no stacks of that game for me, but just sprinkle them in. Terry McLaurin's another low owned piece in that Washington Howell stack that we talked about, low owned. I like that a little bit. Josh Palmer's probably a little bit chalky at 4,800. Christian Watson, a guy that I'm sure Bobby's going to talk about, 5,600 in the love stack, looks really nice. Sutton run back there at 5,200. Our man Josh Downs, he's up to 4,500, but we like that game. We need some run backs in that Cleveland game. Gabe Davis at 5,900 is still too cheap to me. So yeah, those are just some of the guys I'm kind of really focusing on.
If you wouldn't mind doing receiver before me,
I'll go before you. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I like what you're saying, Rody, and I think that's what I'm going to do is get a little bit more on that Cleveland situation. I sort of like that. I think possibly steam that Cleveland Indy game. So I've got my highest owned receiver is Cooper Kupp, which is, I know it's weird. He's $1 million and he's going to be really popular, but I like the play. I don't see really a ton of bust paths. I think it's like a pretty sure 20 points with upside of 40. So I love Kupp. Allen, Palmer from the Chargers side of things. I like some of the spend downs, and I'm going to play 20% Jameson Williams this week. I know it's whatever. This is how you win tournaments, though. It's how you lose tournaments too. I'm gonna lock into a play that I think is tremendous upside. And at some point when he starts playing half the snaps, this guy is going to absolutely be a monster. So I'm going to
why don't you talk through that a little bit for the people that weren't there for your other breakdown about Jameson Williams?
Jameson Williams is I believe he's one of the most talented receivers in the NFL. Same thing in college. If not for the off the field problems, this guy could have been like literally a top 2 or 3 pick, maybe a number 1 pick even. And he's had those same problems in the NFL. He's had a hard time getting on the field between injuries and off the field stuff. And when he's played, they look for him, and they look for him deep every time. He's 3,800, and he's the best 3,800 receiver we've ever seen, basically. That's my argument. He is super talented, and by next year, it might be he and Amon-Ra as the 1 and 1A receivers for the Lions. So I just want to get ahead of it, basically. I really think the kid is super talented, and I think that we just need to bet on the future with him. So that's it. Look, I'm not suggesting everybody else go out there and play all the Jameson Williams, but this is what I'm going to do. I will be way overweight Jameson Williams until he becomes sort of the trendy, as Sheets would say, like the hipster play that he's going to be very, very soon. I'd like to be ahead of it. So that's really
it's this Detroit game is like really, I don't want to say confusing to me, but I really thought that it was going to be a lot more popular than I think it is. But I guess your points that you made earlier was that these defenses aren't bad.
Right.
I also heard that there might be weather issues there.
Yeah, there's a little bit of wind stuff going on. It got gusts up to 25 and 30 miles an hour. 25 and 30 miles an hour, which is, it just feels like, I think you should be playing Baltimore's defense at 2,500. We'll get into defenses in a little bit with Goff outdoors. But at the same time, Lamar, first of all, he throws the ball. He throws it on the line and he runs the ball. That's why you're playing Lamar. So it doesn't really bother me with Lamar as much. But maybe you don't double pair Lamar with Flowers and Andrews. Maybe you just play him with Andrews or just with Flowers or something. That's what I would suggest.
Yeah. So for me at receiver, my current builds, and again, this is because come no surprise since I have all this Seattle. Wow, this is so interesting. I think my projections might be projecting like, it's one of those stupid things like a chance that Metcalf is out. You know what I mean? Even though he's probably not going to be out. So what's ended up happening is these current builds, I'm getting just all kinds of like Tyler Lockett, and some of the JSN. But Tyler Lockett right now is my current highest owned receiver. I have to imagine that's going to change, or it won't. In other words, if Metcalf is out, then that's staying, obviously. But if he's in, I might have to mess around. So Zay Flowers, who you mentioned, I'll tell you what concerned me a little bit. If you with the Zay Flowers play, like you play Baltimore, you're obviously going to want to play Zay Flowers and or Mark Andrews. And I'll tell you what I saw with Lamar. I saw him being really, really good at distributing the ball. Like all over the place. Saw Nelson Aguilar get looks. I saw all these other people get looks, and I don't know if anybody's going to get like enough, enough targets to really just break the slate. And the other thing about Mark Andrews, and we'll get to tight end in a minute, I guess, but I just consider him a receiver. But they they actually pulled him out of the game when they've been on the goal line, which is like kind of weird. But okay, so Kupp you mentioned, Marquise Brown from that Arizona game, Amari Cooper, Rody already mentioned. One guy he's gonna get ownership, and they're playing it off of last week's game. It just is the type of play that if I play it, I know he's gonna get nothing, and that's Kendrick Bourne.
I know. I've got a bunch of them too.
It just feels like I'm gonna have like a perfect lineup, and he's gonna get me 0, and I'm gonna be on tilt. That's the way I feel about that one. Elijah Moore, I think you mentioned somebody. Another guy who's back in that Ram game is Deontay Johnson for Pittsburgh. Again, he hasn't played yet, I don't think, this year. But if you want to if you want to stack up that game a little bit, I know Pickens is going to be the natural guy you play. And not that Deontay Johnson is going to be unowned, but I think Deontay Johnson is good. I just presume everybody knows that Keenan Allen's always in play, I suppose. Well, let's talk about a couple of the cheapos, I suppose. So from that Kansas City game, I'm actually getting more Kadarius Toney than the other guys. I don't think I'm getting any Rashid Rice for some reason. We'll see how that goes. And then the Giants game, I will throw in that what's his name is, I think, the absolute minimum. I think the Wyatt. I think from the Giants, and I think that's a decent punt. You already mentioned Palmer, Watson. I'm just trying to see if there's anything else that we missed. I do have Rashid Rice. I have like 2 liners for Rashid Rice. And if you're going to tell, and obviously, Bobby, if you're telling me that Josh Allen, you might take a shot on him at low ownership. I forgot you said that. And obviously, Diggs is going to be, somebody to play with him.
Yeah, for sure. Let's Cheats. Why don't we stick with you and go into tight end, because I think that you mentioned some things about tight ends, but like I'd like to hear your take, because you're going to have a very almost like absurdly, like, I don't know, you're going to have 3 guys who are going to be way high owned, and nobody else I don't think is going to be significant.
So I presume you mean Musgrave, Andrews, and Kelsey?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So Musgrave, Andrews, and Kelsey, I imagine are going to be the 3 most owned. And they are currently my 3 highest owned. Let me just throw in, obvious, plays that go along with other things that we talked about already today. Sam Laporta from Detroit goes along with all that Baltimore-Detroit stuff. David Njoku, who goes along with some of that Cleveland stuff. That makes a lot of sense. I'll give you 2 other guys. One who we've seen flashes. I think he's a rookie. The guy from the Raiders, Michael Mayer.
Yeah, he's really talented too.
Yeah, he's really talented. And then this is, I thought this was going to be like the nobody's going to play him this week. No one's going to believe last week's stuff, but I think people are going to end up playing him. But Trey McBride from Arizona, kind of taking over, hope maybe from Zach Ertz.
Right.
I think that's a little bit too. I don't know. I think people are going to do it. But if not, whatever. I'll take a look at ownerships again as we get near it. But listen, if you're going to play that Seattle game and you want the run backs and you're going to play obviously the Marquise Browns and the Wilsons, whatever, certainly think that McBride, if he's going to take over whatever, again, if Arizona's going now into, I don't say tank mode, but into just we don't need to give Zach Ertz 15 targets a game now. I think, I don't know, I'll play a little recency bias out of that one. I don't know if he's going to be low owned, but we'll take a look at that. But like you said, Musgrave, Andrews, and Kelsey, they look like the best plays. They look like the highest owned plays. And the other tight ends I like are the ones that fit my staff.
Yep, I understand that. Rody, what do you got at tight end?
Yeah, Sheets mentioned a lot of good ones, like Sam Laporta. He did mention in the, because I'm on the Detroit stack a little bit. He's been good. Mark Andrews and run back in that game is also good. Travis Kelce, probably the elite tight end, but he's very expensive at $8K. So I really like these spend downs like Njoku at 3.4. I like a lot today as well because he's in the Watson stack. I like Musgrave at 3.3. A couple guys that are very cheap that I like to get into the lineups. If you really want a super cheap guy, a run back you could do in that Watson stack, or on the other side for the Indy game, you could do Drew Ogletree at 2,500 on DK. He's kind of getting some more work there, whatever. The other guys are all out or whatever, so he's there. You got Noah Fant. Maybe he wakes up this game, catches up some touchdowns for that Seattle, and everyone's like, "Why did I have him this weekend?" Everyone's got Locke and all these other guys, And then Michael Mayer's right around that same price, very talented, 2,700 right there. No one's gonna play him, so just some cheaper guys this week. Or I'm kind of doing the spend ups where I got Andrews, Kelsey, Laporta type thing, or some of these cheap guys in my lineup.
Yeah, I'm sort of with a lot of what you guys had. So I love Musgrave because it's the game that I love. I really want to stack up, especially the Green Bay side of things. So I'm going to play a lot of Musgrave. I love Kelsey, obviously, for obvious reasons. Andrews fits also with my Lamar stacks. I love that. I am going to go, I think, with the rest of my lineups. Basically, it's going to be some combination of Pitts, Knox, and Mayer. I think Mayer may be the best play on the slate, like of any position. And I don't really understand why we're not loading up on this. We finally got to see him looked at every time down the field. He's a huge part of their future. Other than, you have the Jacobs and Devontae getting all the work. I think it's going to start to spread out a little bit more to Mayer, and this is an incredible matchup. I really think that Mayer is the best play on the slate when you factor in ownership and everything, on at least a tight end. I really think that's what we're supposed to be doing and not playing as much of the Zach Ertz, who's still going to be like near double-digit owned. You know what I mean? Like, I think we should be playing Michael Mayer instead, basically, is my argument.
I really like that.
I think he's a really good play.
He is. I have this fear that it's going to be Devontae day.
No. And you know what? That's totally fair. But where you're not playing Devontae, throw in some Mayer. I'm telling you, he's 2,700 too. So it's.
Oh, okay. Very good.
All right, so I'll jump into defenses real quick. For some reason, I always feel like I have the strongest take on defenses than I do of any other position every week, which is really unfortunate for a DFS player. But it's been really good for my betting. I'm about 70% this year on my bets. I love Cleveland's defense this week. I think this is the best defense in the NFL, maybe 1A. You could call them the Jets. They're really close. I think this Cleveland Browns defense is no joke. For some bizarre reason, I'm doing the exact thing I'm not supposed to be doing. Cheats. I'm going to spread it out. But I've got 60% of the Cleveland Browns defense.
Let's go.
Just completely nuts. I just don't see, I'm like, what is the way that this doesn't work? Like, and I like Minshew and all the stuff, and they're in a dome. All right, fine. There's going to be mistakes made. That pass rush is just way too elite. I'm so overweight Cleveland defense, and I have enough, for some reason, I have enough money to spend there. So I have Cleveland number one. I've got the Steelers. I just think the Steelers are sort of like, I guess price-wise, but I think the Ravens, if you're spending down, is probably the best decision. I don't mind getting to a little bit of the Cardinals to sort of go against the chalk with the Seattle stuff, and that's pretty much my defenses. So I'll let Sheets go, and Sheets can do his disclaimer. Don't play more than 20% if you're playing max entry. Right?
Well, what's good is that I don't like to play more than 20% of any defense just because of the way results distribute among the defenses. And fortunately, I'm not getting more than 20% of anybody. The two I'm getting the most of, I'm getting 18% Kansas City and 18% Seattle. Now, I worry or I wonder if the only reason I'm getting so much Seattle is because I'm getting so much Kenneth Walker and the Sims are just trying to pair the running back with the defense. You know what I mean? I'm not sure.
Seattle's a pretty logical defense, though, against Arizona.
Yeah. And the Chiefs, I guess, I'd love to see how many Chiefs lineups I have without Pacheco. You know what I mean? That's a good test of that theory, actually. But that's what. And then Cleveland, you mentioned. And then the only other guys I have more than 10% of are from the same game, like Giants and Commanders. And that's that. Everybody else is just kind of spread out.
Look, it's funny. I really like this. Like, just to touch on something that's interesting about defenses. So I like the idea. Like Seattle, it makes sense. Okay, you're really trying to pick on Arizona's offense. It's the reason why you're playing them and everything. But if you're going to tell me the same price you could pay for Seattle's defense and you could pay for the Browns defense, if you were playing like season long, everybody wants the Browns defense. Nobody cares at all about Seattle's defense.
That's
and
true.
For some reason, Seattle is going to be the twice as owned as the best defense in the NFL. In a great spot against a backup quarterback. Like, I don't even understand it. I'm going, I think it's just wrong. I just think it's wrong. I think you're supposed to play the Browns way more than you're supposed to pay Seattle at the same price, basically. That's just my personal take. Rody, what do you think about defenses?
Yeah, I think that's right. I like the Browns defense a lot today. You mentioned the Cardinals too. I like the Cardinals. They're my cheap like 2,300 defense that I kind of like. And then I kind of mix and match a little bit. I'm pretty heavy on a couple of those defenses. Then I sprinkle in a little bit. I might have some Lions defense. Just Lamar turned it over. Even I grabbed a Patriots defense because I needed $200 more. It's not like not feel good about any of that, but then you can play the Chiefs defense a little bit as well, 2,400, and then don't mind that. So just kind of sprinkling all the defenses in really this week. So
Nice, yeah. All right. Well, before we get into, we're kind of speeding through things, so I'm gonna ask Sheets the most important question of the day. Sheets, who are we captaining in Showdown for MLB? What's happening here with this?
Well, I got to check on who the best projected reliever is going to be. So, but I will be playing it, and I will be putting Sheets up for it, later on in the day. And you know what? Listen. When I like playing everything. I like playing all the sports, and on days where no one is paying attention, it's just softer. It just is. Who's playing the 2-game hockey slate tonight?
Right.
Except for me. You know what I mean?
And
who I guess? I guess pure hockey experts. So maybe that's not the greatest logic in the world. But
but actually, I think it is a good logic, because I think that it's sort of like, okay, that would be it would be like the equivalent of being their 12th out of 40 tables on, if you're multi-entering poker.
Yeah, exactly.
It'd be like your 12th biggest focus.
Can I tell you something interesting? I used to do that all the time when I played when I was playing online poker. The first thing I would do is if I was playing against somebody, I would search them to see what else they were in, and so if I found a guy who was like playing like 37 other tables, I would like flat like all of their raises. I
love it.
And just like, there must be, oh shit, how am I going to pay attention to that? You know what I mean? So just put them on tilt. And that stuff, and that'd be, and so like you said, I mean, if people are playing a gazillion things, there's no way they're putting any effort into that lineup. And yeah, I am going to play. I've been playing NASCAR. By the way, I took down a NASCAR tournament yesterday.
What the hell is going on?
Well, hold on. I got second in the Xfinity MME for 3,000, and I chopped a single entry for a crisp $925. Let's go.
Let's go. That's nice.
Yep. And so what I'm doing, as far as the as far as the staking stuff, I'm putting the stuff on staking kind of in reverse. Like I started putting up like the NHL hockey slates, and I'm finishing up with the football slates. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I just did Yahoo, and I'm going back to FanDuel. You know what I mean? So I'll get everything up there.
Pretty sick, man.
And yeah, so we will see what happens. And just so you guys know, I am going to be putting up the Showdown slate sheets a little bit later. And I always threaten to like come on after and like do a Showdown thing, but I'm so freaking spent at 7:15 from like being on tilt from the other stuff that I'm just never in the mood. But it's a great game tonight. The Eagles Miami.
You can't ask for a better game.
We probably should get on there. When we get on there at 7:15 to sweat your Millie Maker entry, that's going to be like in 7th with like a couple of possessions left. Maybe we'll touch on the Showdown. But the other thing I did want to mention a play that I didn't mention, which I think could win all the cheese. I mentioned it back. We went over it earlier in the week, but lost in all of the spend ups and spend downs or whatever is the fact that Saquon Barkley had a really, really good second half last week. And I think that he could, and this is a big game, man. They play home against the Redskins. Listen to my brain today. Home against Washington, and I hate when people like in the industry say, "Well, nobody's going to play him." Obviously, people are going to play him, but I think he's going to be low enough owned that I think he's worth a shot.
I think that's actually a good call, and I'm kind of annoyed because I think I do have to get some Barkley and some Eckler, which means I have to rework some lineups. But I have 30% Cooper Kupp. I can find something to do with some of those lineups.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to call that Sheets' hot take. Rody, give us something for this week to look forward to, like that that maybe you got your eye on, just something you're overweight on, other than what you mentioned so far.
Yeah, I forgot about the hot take part again this week. I like your Jameson Williams call in the Detroit stack. He's a guy. I forgot to mention him. Forgot to mention Tony. Those guys are both my cheap guys. This week I like. So I think one of these cheaper stacks or one of these cheaper guys like Jameson or Tony, one of these 3% guys has a big game today. So I like that call a lot.
Nice. Yeah, I'm gonna go with. So I like those cheap receivers. I like the idea of the Tony. I like some Wan'Dale Robinson. I like some of the. I think you can really get away with some of these things, and I like the Jameson Williams. So Jameson Williams is my hot take play, obviously.
I love it, by the way. I think it's a great.
Yeah, JSN you can put in there too now at 3,900, and then Jaden Reed. I seen you had some of your early builds with him
exactly,
at 3,700. Yeah. So that's kind of what I mean, guys. Not just I should have stole Jameson Williams' hot take for Bobby, but one of those 3K guys. We kind of need one of these guys this week. We want to play the Barkleys and the Ecklers and the Cooper Kupps. You kind of need to get some of these cheaper stacks in. So.
And I'm going to go ahead and say that just because we hit the 30 to. By the way, I got it wrong, which fortunately my friend made the right bet. He hiked the last week the Lions game. I thought he hiked it up to 6.5, which is what I asked him to do, and he said it was 30-1. He had to hike it up to 9.5 actually in that game. So I'm glad they covered by plenty. But we got the 30-1 payout last week, so I'm going to do a little parlay thing for the bettors out there. I love the over in the Atlanta Tampa Bay game. I think it's ridiculous. You can get it at 37 at BetMGM. I think that's a really, really, really good bet. And I think that's like, just make that a part of your parlays. Just lock in the over on that one. Lock in the over at 50.5 on Miami and Philadelphia, and then lock in the under at Buffalo at New England. Even though I like some Buffalo hammer stacks, I just think the under at 43.5 is, so I like that parlay. Buffalo under, Buffalo, New England under, Atlanta, Tampa Bay over, Miami, Philadelphia over. 3-way parlay. That's what I'm doing.
I want to give you guys some other stuff to root for. My so in Survivor this week in Circa, we need a really good parlay for like a lot of equity. We're playing Buffalo against New England, but 65% of the pool is going to be on Seattle. So if somehow, some way Arizona gets that win, it's going to be we're going to be really styling. So that's the parlay we're rooting for. The Buffalo Arizona parlay. We'll see what happens.
Nice. All right. Anything else to touch on before we get out of here? I'm just looking to see if there's anything. We have a few more minutes, but I didn't really have anything else that I needed to. It feels like almost like a small slate to me. The more I talk, the more I'm convinced myself into this Tampa Bay Atlanta game. I don't really know why. I just think that you have a pass funnel defense essentially in Tampa Bay, and Atlanta who just wants to run the ball. So when things like collide like that, I kind of think that you play the other side of it. I think that Ritter that's my last hot take is that Ritter to a combination of Pitts and Drake London are going to be the winner.
Yeah, and actually, Bobby, they've been throwing the ball a little bit more than people think. Actually, it's actually higher than everyone thinks it's a run thing, but they've actually been chucking it quite a bit. And they were in the Millie Maker lineup last week, so I believe, right? That's what everyone's talking about.
Yeah, maybe I'm a week late, I guess, on this. I feel like I'm just like playing last week's slate right now.
yeah, but it's still a fine play. I think they're gonna have to throw the ball today anyway. So
yeah.
How many of you guys play? You guys playing the Wildcat, I presume?
I've got 5 in the Wildcat. That's pretty much it's my main tournament. Like I like to play like the problem is like it hasn't worked out so well this year, but historically it's good. How many are you playing, Cheats?
The usual one.
The usual one. So
I'm ramping it up though. I'm playing 2 in the power sweep this week.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I'm gambling. I'm gambling in the power sweep.
It's hilarious to me that you're so good about logic and all this stuff. For some rejon, you don't understand. You won't play a 3-entry max. You won't play all 3 head lineups in the 3-entry max. It's much more.
It's not that. It's just the NFL. I just don't like it. I don't want to play that much.
You'll save your 150 to put towards your big buy-in baseball.
When I play MMA, I always play all 3 in the. But the NFL, I hate the NFL. Why would I want to do that?
Hilarious. All right. Well, you better now. We can already forecast your winning. Rody, anything else before we get out of here?
Okay. You know what? I'm now on tilt. You know what I just did? I did it. I have a 3rd entry in the power sweep.
There it is.
Totally on. And that's whatever the 3rd one is. That's the one that's going to win. That's it.
Dude, that works. That works too. A lot of times. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Rody, you got anything else before you take us out of here?
No, I don't have anything added, I think we covered quite a bit. Feels like a smaller slate. We covered a lot of good plays today, so
yeah. And we'll be in the premium Discord. I'm sure me and Rody will be complaining within the first 10 minutes of the game. So
no, you can't be complaining because you have like so much of your stuff in the 4 o'clock.
I know it's true. I can't really complain until 4 Eastern. It's true.
You know,
Eckler hammer.
when Green Bay busts because the Denver top edge rusher is back, and all of a sudden it matters this week. Like then you'll be on tilt. That's it.
Exactly. Exactly. All right. Well, guys, great to see you. Rody, take us out of here.
All right, guys. Good luck, everyone, today, and let's